Joe Gibbs Racing just made a move nobody saw coming. One of the most explosive claims in this entire NASCAR courtroom war gone, pulled, withdrawn. But before you think this means Gibbs is losing ground, hold on. Because on the same day, new accusations surfaced that this legal fight might be dirtier than anyone realized. This is the JGR versus Spire Motorsports saga, and it just took a turn. Here's what actually happened. Joe Gibbs Racing had accused Gabehart of secretly running competition strategy for Spire Motorsports despite a non-compete agreement that should have blocked him from doing exactly that. That accusation was serious. It suggested Gabehart wasn't just working for a rival team, he was actively calling shots for them, and Spire allegedly told employees to keep it quiet. Now, JGR has asked the court to strike that claim, and the court said yes. Why? Because when Spire's legal team demanded proof, JGR admitted it didn't have non-privileged evidence to back it up. Meanwhile, Gabehart's camp fired back with a claim of their own, alleging JGR's forensic examiner improperly accessed privileged attorney-client emails during the discovery process. Two sides, two sets of accusations, one courtroom getting messier by the week. This lawsuit goes back to February, when Joe Gibbs Racing first filed against Gabehart and Spire Motorsports. The core of it is simple on paper, complicated in reality. Did Gabehart violate his non-compete by essentially helping run Spire's competition operation after leaving JGR? Gabehart's side tells a completely different story. He claims JGR withheld his pay, ran an invasive forensic investigation into his devices, and then tried to justify a for-cause termination using conduct that same investigation reportedly cleared him of. And here's the part that stings. Gabehart's filing points out that JGR's own internal paperwork listed his exit as a voluntary resignation, while Joe Gibbs himself said publicly that the two sides simply went their separate ways. That's a contradiction that could matter a lot in front of a judge. Add in Spire's countersuit involving a separate personnel dispute over crew chief Robert Cheddar Smith, and you've got a legal battle that's no longer just about one crew chief. It's about how NASCAR's top-tier teams treat contracts, competition, and leverage behind the scenes. Let's break down why withdrawing that allegation actually matters strategically. In litigation, credibility is currency. When a team makes a bold, headline-grabbing claim that a rival is secretly directing competition strategy in violation of a contract, and then can't back it up with usable evidence, that's not a neutral event. That's a dent in JGR's overall narrative. It doesn't mean Gibbs' broader case collapses. Withdrawing one allegation from an amended complaint is common in complex litigation, especially when much of the supporting material may be protected by attorney-client privilege and therefore unusable in court. But optics matter, especially in a sport where public perception can shape sponsor conversations and locker room trust. On the flip side, the privilege breach accusation from Gabehart's team is the more dangerous threat here. If a forensic examiner genuinely accessed and disclosed privileged communications before authorization, it's not just a paperwork issue that could affect how much of JGR's evidence is admissible going forward, and it could invite sanctions or added scrutiny from the court. So really, both sides took a hit on the same day. JGR lost a headline claim. Gabehart's team is now alleging a process violation that could complicate JGR's own case. Strategically, this looks less like either side gaining separation and more like a legal war of attrition, where the goal isn't necessarily a clean knockout. It's forcing the other side into costly, reputation-damaging exchanges. NASCAR fans have been split since day one on this one. Some see Joe Gibbs Racing protecting a legitimate competitive advantage and holding a former employee to a contract he signed. Others see a powerhouse organization trying to control where talent can go, even after that talent has technically left the building. Now, with one of JGR's boldest claims getting pulled from the record, expect the Gibbs' overreaching crowd to get louder. And when Gabehart's side raises a privilege violation allegation against JGR's own examiner, that's the kind of detail that can shift public sympathy fast, especially in a fan base that already leans toward rooting for the underdog in legal disputes against a powerhouse team. Expect NASCAR insiders and legal adjacent media to zero in less on who's winning the PR battle and more on what this means for discovery rules going forward in sports litigation. Best case scenario for Joe Gibbs Racing, the court treats this withdrawal as a minor housekeeping move. The privilege dispute gets resolved without major sanctions, and JGR's stronger claims, the ones with real documentation. carry the case forward toward a settlement or a favorable ruling. Worst case scenario, the privilege breach allegation gains traction. Some of JGR's evidence gets challenged or excluded, and this withdrawn claim becomes a talking point that damages the credibility of the rest of their complaint. That could push this case toward a messier, more expensive trial with real reputational costs on both sides. Either way, this is not close to over. So here's the real question. Did Gibbs Racing just lose a key piece of leverage? Or was this simply smart legal cleanup before a bigger fight? Drop your take in the comments. Do you think Gabehart had every right to move to Spire? Or do you think non-competes like this should be fully enforced in a sport built on competitive advantage? If you want every twist in this NASCAR courtroom battle as it breaks, make sure you're subscribed to SportsWire USA because this story is far from finished.